Pierstorff really needs no introduction, and so I'm going to give him one anyway. Sam is a teacher at MJC, a former bench presser, a swimmer, a previous poet laureate for the city of Modesto, as well as the youngest one ever in the state of California. He is dad to 3, founder and publisher of Quercus Review Press, both the journal and the book series. He is a ninja in training, a budding novelist, the host of the much-missed Slam on Rye, the creator and co-host of the Ill List Poetry Slam, co-editor of More Than Soil, More Than Sky, and most importantly for our purposes here tonight, a fine poet. His first full-length collection, Growing Up in Someone Else's Shoes, was published by World Parade Press in 2010. Perfect, I got it right. To wide acclaim. So let's give him some of that wide acclaim right now. In back of the room, I'm going to need you to tell me if the sound is making it back there.
I will. Thank you. I've had lots of acclaim, but never that wide. So, can you hear me, Vanessa? She's my student. Can you hear me, Justin? What about you, Wesley? He's a baby. It's okay. Well, I want to say thank you to Gillian for inviting me. There's really not much, there's no poetry readings that are this consistent anymore since we closed our doors to Slam on Rye 10 years ago. Well, after 10 years, misspoke. And I, as a poet, have not been invited to read anywhere for a long time. After tonight, you'll find out why. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm very excited to read some work. I have really been writing fiction for about a year and a half, so I'm going to read you the entirety of my new manuscript. No? Not so much? Okay. No. I'm going to read a few poems, but some of them are new, so I might screw up. So this first poem is called, am I projecting because I'm getting echo, but I'm assuming, okay, you've got, it's like when you talk like this and you can hear yourself. Okay, so this is called At the Hotel of Irrelevancy, and I was really sort of sad about how many things were cool and aren't cool anymore, and so I thought there must be a place they can go to live out their days. So this is the Hotel of Irrelevancy. You check in, but no one checks you out anymore. You are that summer song from 20 years ago that melted ghetto blasters to bare shoulders as you traversed the neighborhood looking for a piece of cardboard wide enough to backspin on. Your legs, helicopter blades. Your head, the tip of a carpenter's drill. At the Hotel of Irrelevancy, a typewriter is placed in every room. See, because typewriters don't exist anymore. See, she got it. Underwood. A typewriter is placed in every room for you to write letters to the wife you've never stopped loving, even for a second when you saw another woman's smile. A lava lamp illuminates a Bible on the desk next to a can of Tab soda. You open them both for the first time in decades, then dive into the queen-sized waterbed, rubber waves bubbling beneath you. This, you imagine, is what a rubber duck feels in the bathtub with a toddler. Soon you become seasick, drowning in dreams of your own irrelevancy. Suddenly, your Vanilla Ice, Axl Rose, David Hasselhoff, you are Monica Lewinsky's blue dress. You are a singer who can actually sing, a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman. You are as irrelevant as truth in the 21st century, as talent, as love before sex. You, sir, are the broccoli in a kid's Fraggle Rock lunch pail. You are as evil as a carbohydrate. Nobody wants you anymore. You are poetry in the life of a high school football player. You are mortality on MTV. Did I say mortality? You are morality on MTV. You don't exist. When you wake up, you realize that your bed sheets are made from the fleeced corpses of used Snuggies. The balcony window in your 13th floor suite at the Hotel of Irrelevancy is wide open, so you take your first steps outside, over the ledge, and fall until you too become a distant memory that others will soon look down on. Yay, irrelevancy. All we can hope for in life is never to check into that hotel. Am I right? I'm going to read a poem. I'm sure I've read this before, but as I said on my Facebook post, which you all read, because that's how we're friends, right? I mean, is there any other way? I said I was going to read something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. And by blue, you know what I'm... No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry, Gillian. Don't worry, Gillian. Nothing too blue. That's for the after poetry reading. But I do teach English at this wonderful college here, Modesto Junior College, as I like to refer to it, the Harvard of the West. No offense to any academics who come from the Bay Area. Oh, sorry. I'm sure, Dean, you teach composition as well as poetry and other things?
No, but I have.
Okay. I understand. You're here. I understand. We have English teachers in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to dedicate this to you. Grading English 101 essays. 8 done, and I can't bear anymore. Can't bear the fragments, sentences with broken legs, crawling through each paragraph without the crutch of verbs. I'm usually awakened by the poetry in at least one student's line. The girl with wild black hair, plum lips, nose pierced like a dartboard's bullseye. Or the hippie dude in a Che t-shirt, 10 years too old for junior college, dirty hair rolled like Havana cigars, but nothing yet. So far, it's just the late night, last minute usuals who think periods must be bullets because it killed them to stop a run-on. I loathe these long nights. The pit of my stomach feels like a classroom of 4-year-olds with scissors and a book on making kites. I am sick of grading, sick of inserting commas like fish hooks into the murky lakes of each essay. It's all sludge and algae. Show me a rainbow trout, a steelhead, an ounce of well-reasoned prose, and I will dangle myself all night on a pole of modifiers until something starts to bite. I don't mean that. The only escape from composition is poetry. Really, like, oh, what are you gonna do? I'm sick of reading all this writing. Let me write. And then you feel better. Let's feel better. Anyway, look, I have a set list. I'm so organized. Okay. I'm not sure if I've read this before. I wrote this a little while back. My daughter, I'm gonna read a couple poems. She's just a subject to a lot of poems, and because she's my only daughter, which doesn't mean I don't love my sons. They're wonderful. But, you know, just the girl's life, suddenly, maybe it's because it's more interesting to me because it's so fresh and new and different. Boys, I get. Here's your Lego kid. Here's your video game. Not a big surprise. My daughter, on the other hand, has things like crushes, you know, and she wants attention by wearing glasses. She really wants braces, even though her teeth are straight. Just it's a new world. So my wife and I discovered in her bureau a little journal. And in that journal, which my wife made me read, there's this little line. You'll see it in the poem. So I'm working on these epistolary poems where I write letters to things, to people that don't normally get letters written to them. So this is a letter to my daughter's first crush. Dear Max, in the bureau next to her white sleigh bed, my 7-year-old daughter keeps a small journal decorated with stick-on jewels, pink diamonds, rubies, opals, the color of a new black eye. That's your first warning. We find it buried under Cinderella pajamas she's long outgrown. It's a surprise to learn she keeps a journal or that she writes in one when unfamiliar feelings, like robbers, steal the tongue she's used to tell us everything. But there it is, on page 9. I have a crush on Max, very much. And now I have a broken heart, very much. A year ago, she wanted to marry me, which was weird, but I didn't correct her. I held her hand, kissed her forehead, offered the moon if she needed more reading light before bed. But Max, I suppose it's your turn now. No matter what happens for the rest of second grade, which you have been through twice, you will be that boy. That relieved kick she feels inside her chest when you walk in late with your straw-colored hair and untied shoelaces. Punctuality is not your thing, I guess. Neither, it seems, is reading, or math, or even sitting still. But my daughter likes you, like a shotgun likes shells. Like a bat likes baseballs, like a chainsaw likes large oak trees. So go ahead, little man, be cute, be 8 years old, be my daughter's first crush, but if you hurt her, I will crush you until you know exactly how a broken heart feels. I do not condone violence against 8-year-old children. However, there may be, there's no exceptions. No exceptions. Moving along. So in my classes, we talked a lot about gender and relationships and infidelity, of which I am not an expert. You didn't hear her, she said something naughty. So, one semester, a young lady, I hear this all the time. I hear the term, it just happened. He says it just happened, it just happened, it just happened. And oh my God, does that blow my mind. Because I don't know who's dumber, the dude who says it or the gal who believes it. Ooh. Hey, that's cool. So I wrote this poem because I just want you to think more about that. Because it's just not a good excuse. It just happened. If he says it just happened, ask him if her hair unbraided itself, if her lips detached from her innocent face and suctioned his tongue like leeches before he had a chance to utter no. And if her low-rise jeans sank even lower, folding themselves like an accordion to the rug with no music playing as she stepped out of each leg, one red tip toe at a time, because this just happened. Watch now as her panties dissolve into ash and her bra unsnaps and flutters away like a butterfly through the window that frames the evening's wide-eyed moon. Then his clothes, see them unraveling, a tornado of threads spinning him out of his khaki slacks, his buttons popping and clicking against walls until he too is bare like Adam. But this is no garden. This is a second-story apartment that they just happened to be in, and there's spilled Merlot that poured itself, and a couch with arms that reached out and pulled them onto the cushions, onto each other. Maybe now, stop thinking. Stop picturing his fingers skiing down her breasts, across her flat stomach, slipping inside. Forget the straining pelvises, the sticky emissions, the cuddles afterwards, the long kiss goodnight. Just focus on the routine, the quiet drive home when he plots his fantastic tale down familiar streets where every turn is automatic and every road just happens to lead him back to you. It does just happen sometimes. I mean, hey, Doug! Holcomb! Hey, that guy took all the pictures for More Than Soil, More Than Sky. That's him! That's him! I'll tell you what More Than Soil, More Than Sky is later. I'm gonna read a newish poem, so it may fall totally flat on its face or may be successful, and that's kind of what reading poems is about out loud, right? Because they always sound good up here, and then you post them on Facebook, and bad things happen. Everybody goes, that was awful, take it down. Happened to me recently. Or I read this and they go, that was awful, take it down. This is not so bad. But another grammar-related poem. And it's about my daughter. It's called Raising an Independent Clause. So, those grammarians in the room know that is a complete sentence. My 8-year-old daughter comes to my office and writes 2 sentences on my wall. Daddy is awesome. He's the best dad in the world. Of course, my heart bursts into a million flames of love and pride, but as an English teacher, I can't help noticing that she's missed her period between the sentences, which, as difficult as it is, I choose to ignore and give her a big hug instead. But one day, say at age 16, if she comes to my office again and tells me, Daddy, I missed my period, I really hope she'll be referring to this moment 8 years ago when I was awesome, when I was the best dad in the world. And if she's not, as difficult as it will be, I hope I can find another big hug to give and tell her that not even her bad punctuation will stop me from always loving her. That actually made me a little sad. Didn't have to make you sad, but I said it made me a little sad. I got a little ambush there, a little ambush by my own poem. All right, I'm going to conclude with a poem many of you heard before, but whatever. It's kind of like going to a Katy Perry concert, and she doesn't sing Fireworks. What? I want my money back. Now, this reading was free, so... But I think this poem is still very important to me, to my students, to this generation of millennials and their cell phones. Nancy, oh, that's a camera. No. So I'll conclude with this, and I want to say thanks in advance. And I will, in that big ugly suitcase that I got at a garage sale for $5, I have lots of books. I'm not moving. There's no infidelity. It's okay to talk to strangers. I remember the days when math books fell like leaves from the sexy limbs of young ladies in high school hallways. And if you were lucky, you'd be there to scoop it up with the shovel of your hands and watch a smile bloom across her lips, a thank you pouring slowly from her mouth like champagne into a wedding glass. It was the 80s. Michael Jackson was walking on a moon called fame, and Prince was dancing in Purple Rain. Instead of my space, we met at my locker, where real friends knew each other's combinations and the secrets were always safe inside. We wrote love notes to perfect girls who never knew how often they danced in the ballroom of our dreams. These were the wonder years, when Winnie Cooper splintered the hearts of every nerdy Jets fan, and high school strangers met in person when they rubbed elbows in biology class as they sliced open the stomachs of frogs. These were the days before cell phones, when people had to talk to people, and the best relationships were made by accident. We didn't add friends, we made them. And pornography was the Snap-on Tools calendar in Dad's garage. Nowadays, men type one-handed. If they're, well, I'm gonna skip that next part. So, if a pretty girl drops her math book on the way to class, no one is there to pick it up. But if a phone rings, every idiot guy scrambles for his Motorola as if he has been waiting his whole life for that call. When will we pick up where we left off 20 years ago, when it took a second to say hello to a girl and a lifetime to forget her? When will we hang up and listen to our hearts, close our laptops, and open our minds to the infinite possibilities of chance? Look, while you were text messaging your bonehead friend about what a short little asshole your new English teacher is, that cute brunette with emeralds for eyes just smiled at you, and you totally missed it. Thank you very much.